The glittering ballroom of the Grand Monarch Hotel was filled with the richest and most influential people in the city. Crystal chandeliers sparkled above designer gowns and expensive suits, while waiters moved gracefully through the crowd carrying silver trays filled with gourmet food. It was supposed to be a perfect evening celebrating the opening of a new charity foundation created by billionaire entrepreneur Victoria Hayes. Cameras flashed everywhere as reporters eagerly followed her every move, hoping to capture the next headline about the woman who had built one of the largest technology companies in the country. Standing beside Victoria was her 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Unlike most children, Lily had been born with only one arm. Although her mother had spent millions on the best doctors, surgeries, and advanced prosthetics, Lily often preferred living naturally. She had learned to write, paint, and even play simple songs on the piano with remarkable determination. Her confidence inspired many people, but she was also extremely shy around strangers. She rarely smiled at anyone she didn't know and usually stayed close to her mother during public events. Victoria loved her daughter more than anything in the world. Everything she built, every business deal she completed, and every fortune she earned was for Lily's future. Yet she secretly worried that her wealth had created a wall between her daughter and ordinary people. Most conversations around Lily were carefully rehearsed. Employees always treated her like royalty, and guests constantly praised her simply because she was the billionaire's daughter. As Victoria greeted another group of investors, Lily quietly wandered a few steps away, fascinated by a small bird resting near the hotel's indoor fountain. Her bodyguard noticed but stayed close enough to keep her safe without interrupting her curiosity. Near the end of the hallway, an elderly janitor slowly pushed a cleaning cart across the polished marble floor. His faded uniform looked decades old, and his gray hair peeked out from beneath a worn cap. While everyone admired the glamorous guests, almost nobody noticed the quiet man carefully cleaning small water drops left behind by the fountain. He worked with incredible precision, paying attention to every detail as though the floor itself deserved respect. Then something unexpected happened. Lily suddenly stopped walking. Her eyes locked onto the janitor. Without saying a single word, she smiled, a genuine smile that Victoria had not seen in weeks. Before anyone could react, Lily ran straight toward the elderly man. Gasps echoed through the lobby. The bodyguard instinctively moved forward, but Victoria raised her hand, signaling him to wait. The little girl reached the janitor, wrapped her single arm tightly around his waist, and hugged him with all the strength she had. The old man froze. His broom slipped from his hand and clattered softly onto the marble floor. For several long seconds neither of them spoke. Then the janitor slowly placed one trembling hand on Lily's shoulder. Tears gathered in his tired eyes. "I've missed hugs like this," he whispered so quietly that only Lily could hear. Victoria hurried across the lobby, confused and slightly embarrassed as dozens of guests stared at the unusual scene. "Lily," she said gently. "Sweetheart, do you know this man?" Lily looked up with complete innocence. "No, Mommy." Victoria frowned. "Then, why did you hug him?" The little girl glanced back at the janitor before answering. "Because he looks lonely." Silence swept across the lobby. Many guests awkwardly looked away. Some lowered their heads. For the first time that evening, nobody cared about the expensive decorations or glamorous speeches. They were watching a child notice something every adult had ignored. The janitor smiled sadly. "You have a beautiful daughter," he said respectfully. Victoria thanked him politely, but something about his voice caught her attention. It wasn't the voice of someone defeated by life. It carried discipline, confidence, and calmness, as if he had once commanded people in situations where fear could never be allowed. Lily noticed the way the janitor stood. Even while holding a mop, his posture was perfectly straight. His eyes constantly scanned the room, quietly observing every entrance and exit without appearing nervous. "Why do you always look around?" Lily asked. The old man chuckled softly. "Old habits are hard to break." "What kind of habits?" He hesitated. For a brief moment, painful memories flashed across his face. Finally, he smiled. "The kind that help people come home safely." Victoria sensed there was much more to his story than he was willing to tell. She had spent her career reading people during billion-dollar negotiations, and she knew this humble janitor carried a past far greater than anyone in that hotel could imagine. Little did she know that this unexpected hug was about to uncover a forgotten history of extraordinary courage, sacrifice, and a life-changing secret that would leave everyone speechless. That night, after the charity gala ended, Victoria could not stop thinking about the elderly janitor. His calm voice, disciplined posture, and the sadness hidden behind his smile refused to leave her mind. She had spent years building businesses by trusting her instincts, and every instinct told her that the man was hiding an extraordinary past. The next morning, she asked her chief of security to quietly investigate him. 2 days later, a thick confidential file landed on her desk. The first page carried a name she had never heard before, Daniel Brooks. As she turned the pages, her heart raced. Daniel had once been one of the most respected Navy SEAL operators in the country. His military record was filled with successful rescue missions, anti-terror operations, and acts of incredible courage. Several sections of the file remained classified, but even the available information was astonishing. He had received medals for bravery, saved fellow soldiers under enemy fire, and led missions where failure would have cost countless innocent lives. Victoria kept reading. Years earlier, during a dangerous overseas mission, Daniel had ignored a direct order when he discovered that innocent civilians were trapped inside a collapsing building. Instead of retreating, he and his team risked everything to rescue the families. Every civilian survived, but Daniel's decision angered powerful officials who wanted the operation completed at any cost. Although many soldiers called him a hero, his career quietly ended. He never complained. He never sold his story to the media. He simply disappeared. Further investigation revealed an even sadder truth. After leaving the military, Daniel's wife became seriously ill. Medical bills consumed nearly every dollar he had saved. When she passed away, he sold their home to pay off the remaining debt. With no family left and no desire for public sympathy, he accepted work as a janitor, believing that honest work carried more dignity than living on pity. Victoria closed the file and sat silently. The man cleaning hotel floors had once protected people who would never even know his name. She immediately returned to the hotel. Daniel was exactly where she had first seen him, quietly polishing the marble floor before guests arrived. He smiled politely. "Good morning, ma'am." Victoria looked at him with deep respect. "Why didn't you tell anyone who you really are?" Daniel shrugged gently. "Because who I was doesn't clean these floors. Who I am does." His answer left her speechless. A few moments later, Lily ran into the lobby after school. The instant she saw Daniel, she rushed over and hugged him again. This time he laughed. "You sure like giving hugs. They make people smile," Lily replied. Daniel nodded. "They certainly do." Victoria took a deep breath. "I've read your story," she admitted. "You deserve far more than this job." Daniel smiled kindly. "I already have enough." "No," Victoria replied. "The world owes you more." She offered him the position of director of security for her entire company, along with a generous salary, full benefits, and a comfortable home. Daniel remained silent for a long moment before asking one question. "If I accept, may I request something first?" "Anything. The cleaners, janitors, and maintenance workers in every one of your buildings deserve better wages and health insurance. They work hard every day, but few people ever notice them. Help them first." Victoria felt tears fill her eyes. Even after everything he had sacrificed, he was still thinking about others. She smiled. "It's done." Within a month, every maintenance employee in her company received a significant pay raise, improved healthcare, and education support for their children. Many workers cried when they learned why the changes had happened. Daniel finally accepted his new role, not because he wanted status, but because it gave him another chance to protect people. At the company's annual gathering, Victoria invited him onto the stage. Before thousands of employees, she shared only enough of his story to honor his service while respecting his privacy. The audience rose to their feet in a thunderous standing ovation. Daniel looked uncomfortable with the attention, but then Lily walked onto the stage. She wrapped her single arm around him one last time. Looking up, she smiled and said, "People think heroes wear medals or expensive suits. But the best heroes are the ones who stay kind, even after life hurts them." The room fell silent. Many wiped away tears. Daniel gently hugged her back and whispered, "And sometimes the greatest heroes are children who remind adults how to see people." From that day forward, Victoria never judged anyone by a uniform, a job title, or a bank account. She had learned that greatness often hides behind the simplest acts of service, and that true honor belongs to those who choose humility over recognition. Because in the end, wealth can build empires, fame can fill headlines, and power can command respect, but only kindness has the power to reveal the true heroes standing quietly among us. The end.